Welcome to the GLAC studio. This is Gomati Sivasankaran, founder CEO, the Guiding Light Art Company, building bright futures through art. Today, in the third episode of the GLAC What Next series, Change Management in Practice, we meet someone who has been building brands for his living for about 30 good years and chooses to become a coach. We are meeting VASANTH Kumar, who has been with brands like Max and Lifestyle International, for 30 plus years, an engineer by qualification and an MBA in finance and marketing, turned a coach today. Be sure to pause this video first to pick up a pen and a paper, because what he has to say could really transform your career and your business life more than anything. So, without much ado, let's get on to the show. VASANTH Kumar, sir, welcome to the What Next series, Change Management in Practice, conducted by the GLAC. I am so happy to be talking to you because I have been watching you very closely on LinkedIn, and I was totally amazed by some decisions that you had taken, and I always had in mind why, how, and I couldn't stop questioning myself. I had to do this, and I'm so happy that I'm getting to talk to you. Without much ado, I would like to give the floor open to you to introduce yourself to the audience first.
Thank you, Gomati. I am very happy to participate in this GLAC program. In fact, I am one of the proponents of developing and coaching people. Over my past 3 decades of experience, I was fortunate to be associated with the multiple teams whom I have built and enabled the organization as well to build. Today, I am very, very happy to share my insights and how I also benefited from the process of leading teams. I have started my career in consumer products. I was with Unilever. That's where I started my career in FMCG. Subsequently, in India, the branded apparel segments opened up. There is a brand Van Heusen, which is sort of little popular in UK, may not be much popular in Europe. I was associated with that, and then I was part of the startup team for a brand called Peter England, again one of the UK legacy brand, which we subsequently built it to become the largest value apparel in India. Subsequently, I had an opportunity to get into a launch of large format retail. When I say large format retail, it is modeled on the brand Primark, and the brand is called Max. So yes. I was fortunate to start it from scratch. We started it from a 2-bedroom house. That's where we started that. And today it is on its way to touch $1 billion in India. And single largest mono brand in the country. So I was a part of that. And across all, I was fortunate to build teams who helped me to achieve this success. After that, I also had been a head of department store called Lifestyle International. It has a chain of stores, and also was leading a team on Home Center. That Home Center is another concept which is very similar. It's a version of IKEA. So I had
a version of IKEA.
Yes. So I had the fortune of getting into multiple business, from FMCG business to branded apparel to value fashion like a Primark format, and also Home Center, which is modeled on IKEA. In the process, I also had mentored a brand called Easy Buy, which is modeled more like the way you had the George brand from Mazda. So similar to that, we had launched, and today it is going very well with over 100 stores. So in all of this, the common thread is having clarity on the business model and build team around it. So this is what I had practiced over the past 3 decades plus, and that's how the journey has been. 6 months back, I decided to step down from my executive role and shift towards coaching and mentoring, which was always my passion. The whole idea is what I executed myself. Now I want to help the next generation leadership to do the same. And that is my next journey, helping CEOs to build their own businesses. And I'm helping them through leadership coaching, business mentoring. It's a parallel process, both business as well as leadership. Both I am doing. And I'm using this tool called Business Model Canvas. And this is adapted for my leadership coaching. More about it as we talk further.
Yeah, super fantastic. I will come back to why I said I found it very interesting when you switched gears completely last year. I think a lot of people want to do something like that and are apprehensive. So for some reason or the other. So I would like to know what was going on in your mind when you took such a jump. May I say 30 plus years in one direction, on the top notch executive role, and then you jump out. This is scary for many of us, including me. So I want to know from you what was going on in your mind and how did you come to this?
Typically, I divide my career into buckets of 10 years because I don't look at anything which is short term.
Yeah.
My first 10 years has been cutting my teeth in building the brands. I was in the branded side, building in FMCG brands. I also was a part of durables. I had worked with a brand called TTK Prestige, pressure cookers and kitchenware. So my first 10 years have been building brands with the companies whom I was associated with, and I specialized in the consumer space. This is one important thing. It's important to focus on one segment and be good at it.
Yeah.
So from the beginning, while I was an engineer, I'm a MTech engineer as my background. I switched over to finance and marketing as my MBA. And post my MBA, I deliberately chose to not to pursue my engineering field because I liked consumer. I switched over to consumer products. And from then, it is consumer product all the way. Initially, it is the FMCG and durable. Once I learned the basics of consumer branding and building business, then opportunities came. There is a branded apparel which opened up. So it's important to keep spotting in your own market emerging opportunities. Branded apparel I saw as a good opportunity which can grow in the country. So once I took the decision, I spent a good 10 years in that industry and helped to grow the business. Typically, when that kind of a wave is there, if you catch on, you will then get the best out of it because you ride along with the wave. And that wave, I was fortunate to catch on. And as you do your job, you should keep on scanning what other next wave happens. Typically, in those days, I'm talking about 20 years back and all, the wave happens every 10 years. But now that is more, it's not 10 years, it's far frequent.
Every
3-4 years you will see the wave. So my generation, 10 year, I think is too slow. We had it, but I had the benefit of it. After I had saw the wave of branded apparel, then the next wave, which was large format retailing. How I saw it coming is malls started coming in India. And global brands like Zara, H&M, all these brands also started scouting in India. Then it is obvious that, and even IKEA also, it's obvious that the branded apparel era is also plateauing, and then the large format is going to start. And global brands, when they come, they start scouting years earlier. They don't scout 6 months before launch. They generally do their research 4 or 5 years earlier. So you will know what is coming, and you will know how the market is shaping. That's how I decided to shift over to large format retailing, which changed the landscape of fashion retail in India. Now, at the end of it, you have limited time in your career. You don't have unlimited. So typically, you have only 30 years of active life where you can do as an executive role, which I realized. And then, even when I had a few years left, I could have pulled on for another 4 or 5 years. I deliberately chose to come out because I want to save my energy for the next 10 years. And next 10 years, I see a lot of opportunity of small and medium sized businesses and opportunities for startups, because now the technology, our today the telecom has changed the whole face of the world. Today, anybody can connect with anybody at the press of the button. Anybody can purchase anything and get it delivered anywhere. So and then every consumer are fully aware what is happening in their personal environment, also in their business environment. So when such a high information explosion and availability is there, that gives opportunity for a lot of models to be launched, business models to be launched. And for sure, these business models are going to disrupt the existing businesses.
Yes.
So I felt that the next 10 years will belong to small businesses and startups who are going to have their own value propositions and then disrupt the existing industry and find their own niches. At the same time, I said my executive time, I felt it is over. I don't want to further get into executive role. At the same time, I don't want to miss the opportunity of being part of the startup and small business world. So I said I'll pivot my career. Instead of me continuing my execution role, I will use all the skill sets, capabilities which I've gained over the past 30 years as a leader, developing teams and developing businesses. Enable it through the teams, enable it through the other CEOs. So this is how I pivoted. So fundamentally, I have not changed anything. It is just that instead of me doing, now I am enabling. The same thing.
Awesome.
Instead of managing large businesses, I am now helping small businesses and startups. Fantastic. So at the macro level, there's not much of change. It is a shift in the emphasis of executing myself vis-a-vis helping others to execute successfully.
Awesome. I want to address the elephant in the room.
Yes.
COVID.
Yes.
Among all these things, what we could not have imagined was COVID that happened exactly around the year you are crucially changing gears. How did that impact and what was your response to it?
In my case, the decision to switch gears, I took it before COVID. I took it in the month of October 19, when I finished my 30-year stint. So I had planned to shift gears even earlier to COVID.
Okay.
And at that time, also I believed that the future is going to be in startups and the future is going to be in small businesses, because advanced countries like US, biggest value creation comes from small businesses.
Yes.
Apart from the top five, top $5 trillion companies, I'm not talking about, but they have their own growth path. Other than the top five, a lot of small businesses have a lot of opportunity. Reason is, as I told you, the telecom world has changed the whole environment, business environment. It enables connection between any business to any consumer directly without any intermediary. So this intermediary going off is an opportunity. So that is how I felt. Now the COVID actually has fast-tracked everything. What could have happened in the country over 5 to 8 years is now going to happen in 2 to 3 years. So almost 5 to 7 years it has advanced the kind of disruption that would have anyway happened. So all the more my decision got vindicated. And all the more there is a lot of expectation that I'll be able to make the contribution much earlier than what I had envisaged before COVID.
Amazing. This is amazing. And I can get to see many people just like you that have made decisions are also saying the same thing, that COVID has rather propelled businesses in a different way, catapulted in a different way, in a positive way rather. And I think right now we need to help people go into how to do all these things, magic, bring the magic in their career. And I think you are the best guide now to tell them what they could possibly do. So if you can kickstart with...
See, how you can forget the COVID angle and look at yourself. See, every individual should remain current.
Yes.
When a company is employing a professional, it is important that the employee at whatever level, entry level, middle level, senior level, they should always remain current. So they should always keep questioning to themselves on what job they are doing. Is the job what they are doing exploiting their full potential? Is the job what they are doing is relevant for the company in the future? Is the job which they are doing going to be relevant in the market? Sometimes it may be relevant to the company, but it may be increasingly becoming redundant vis-a-vis the environment. So they should keep on checking about they themselves. Are they fully realizing their potential? Is the role and job rich enough vis-a-vis the company's goals? And whether this job is going to be relevant vis-a-vis the environment. If they keep thinking of constantly, then they themselves may be able to read. They say, no, you should be able to read before the writing is on the wall. So you should be able to pick up that there are certain changes that's going to happen in 1 year, 3 year time frame, and accordingly we should adjust our competencies.
Yep.
The next question is, when you know that there is a change required, then you should ask yourself, should I expand my skill sets to stay in my current job, or should I go to my company, my superior, my boss, and ask for certain upgradation in my current role, or even getting into another role inside the company?
Yeah.
Ultimately, if you feel that one is very confident that the person that he has come, or he or she has outgrown all the opportunities in the company, then then he should be, or he should be willing to look out for the right opportunity before it is too late. So it's very important to take the call before any decision gets taken by the company. And normally we have seen that if a professional is continuously upgrading himself or herself, company will not leave the talent. They will try to accommodate. But for whatever reason, company's direction and goals are a little different from what you have. You can always have a conversation with the company and find out opportunity outside. And it is all fair, because company also feels that either they should address the professional needs of the employee or allow the employee to let go, not to restrict the employee. But it should be done in a manner which is very professional. You should be able to explain why you are going out for certain other option. And I see that as a last resort. 8 out of 10 cases, if one is able to upskill themselves and if they are able to talk to the company senior management, generally some accommodation will happen. But then extreme situations, and more so in the current COVID, it is all fair to then re-look at opportunities outside and even relaunch their own careers.
Yeah.
It is quite fair now, because companies themselves are having their own challenges because of the COVID restriction.
Totally agree. Totally agree.
Yeah. So, and a professional should never get overawed or getting perturbed, because so far they have led a successful career. And the world is waiting. Today, the COVID has definitely curtailed the current demand and hence the current opportunity. At the same time, in the next 2 3 years, not only the demand is going to come back, it is going to even give new opportunities for professionals because there are new ways of looking at businesses. So instead of looking at the restriction which COVID has done, they should look at the opportunity which COVID is providing by rebooting themselves. And to me, this is the right time for each professional to reboot themselves, whether they are going to continue in the same organization or not. Either way, rebooting is mandatory.
Fantastic.
Yes.
Now, how do we reboot? Is there any
Yes.
tool we can talk
Yeah.
about?
Now, for rebooting, there are multiple ways of doing it. There is no one single solution. As I told earlier, the main part is self-reflection, thinking and understanding their own achievements so far, what they have done well, and whether their capabilities are being put to use in the current role, whether they can expand the role. This is a constant reflection. So, rebooting's first step is reflection, saying that they need to do something different. Once they realize it, then comes on multiple paths. And one path which I have practiced myself, which I will strongly recommend to people who want to transform their career, is this approach called business model canvas.
Yep.
Now, this business model canvas, which incidentally I practiced it in my earlier stints and implemented this business model canvas in the businesses which I headed. So I was very comfortable in going back to the same tool, which can also help in career transformation.
That's yeah. The business model canvas is something that every MBA gets introduced to. It's part of, in my MBA with Copenhagen Business School, I had this entrepreneurial mindset class where I was introduced to that. And we did practice it. We are using it as, startup owners, but it's for the business. Now we are shifting gears with that as well, I can see from what you are suggesting. So instead of putting the business in the spotlight, you are suggesting that we put ourselves in the spotlight. And that is business model U.
Yes.
Awesome.
Before we start, I have the certain slides on this business model U. I will try to put down the thinking behind it.
Yes, please.
See, this business model canvas was created by a Swiss professor, Alex Oswalder. Now, you would have seen it, listened to his speech, and you would have understood through the MBA course. How it happened is, when he was teaching, a lot of students came to him with different challenges when they were doing startups.
Yeah.
And what blockages they faced and how to overcome. As he went in depth, he found that the startup business, in fact, any business for that matter, can be put in one frame, which is the 9-box model which he created. And every business should have its own clear value proposition. And that value proposition is what has to be presented to the target customer. So that was the genesis of it. And he developed a nice 9-box model which talks about the business's value proposition, the business's target customer.
Yeah.
How do you communicate your value proposition to the target customer, through which channel? How do you maintain relationship between you as a business and the customer segment? What are the strengths, like assets, you bring to the table to strengthen your value proposition? What activities you do to ensure that the value proposition is well delivered? Then what partners you have with whom you can take help and deliver the value proposition to the customer.
Yep.
So this is how he has built the model. And in the next few slides, I'll show you that framework. This is in one sheet, you know everything about the business.
Yes.
Everything critical about the business and everything related to the customer segment. This framework was hugely successful. It started from Europe and it spread into Asia, America, across. This happened in 2010.
Yeah.
Then in 2014, one of the co-authors of this business model canvas, Tim Clark, he figured out that if this is useful for a startup business, why can't this be used on oneself?
Yeah.
And let the professional, let the individual, he or she treat himself as a business and what value proposition he or she provides to the customer.
Awesome.
So that is how the shift he did. And then he said, instead of a business value proposition, why can't I find a personal value proposition? And that is the core idea in business model U. You should have your own personal value proposition and your target customer should be able to appreciate and reward your value proposition if well delivered. So that is the whole premise. So he completely adapted the same 9-box business model into the personal business model, and that is what he was crafting it as a business model U. And I can show you. You can take if you show certain slides.
Right now, I have this screen with the canvas, reflect, revise, act, and extras. This is from the book called Business Model U.
Yes, yes. Yeah. Now there are 5 stages which he is talking about. Typically, when you treat yourself as a business model, the first stage is first you have to make your value proposition relevant, and that's called the canvas.
That's the canvas.
I will talk more about it at the next stage.
Yep.
You should then reflect on what you have done so far. Each one of you would have finished. You have finished maybe 10-year, 15-year, 20-year experience so far. You should reflect in the past 2 decades how your career has been, what are the high points, and what are the challenges you faced. Also, you should look at even personal life, where what were the highs and lows. So the whole premise is you cannot separate personal life vis-a-vis the business when you handle any job. Somewhere your personal life will impact on the job, and similarly the job will impact on the personal life.
Yes,
so it is important to see both in tandem and reflect on what gives you joy, what kind of balance you want between personal life and professional life, what is your priorities, and which one you want to pursue, which one you feel you can let go of. Our life is all about prioritization. We cannot try to achieve everything every time. So this reflection exercise helps in doing all this. And to me, current post-COVID scenario is a very right time to reflect, because there is a reboot happening across the world, and there are people who have now given priorities of certain things in their life which they never gave earlier, and also businesses also are going through complete radical shift in their strategies. So there's a right time to spend a lot of time on this reflection of what they are and what they want to do, because each one of you may have another 10, 15 years left. So it's the right time to reflect. Once you do this reflection, then time is now right for revision of the value proposition, revision of what they want to do. You may be currently in a, for instance, a technical profession. Perhaps you have certain artistic tendencies. Then you have to look at what drives you, what gives you joy, and you should take the essence of what your capabilities are. And today it is not difficult to reskill because you have online courses and other tutoring, counseling, lot of help is being given. You can always avail this, and then you can get into what you really love. If it is an artistic route, then use the artistic route to take it further. But one thing is important, whatever shift you are going to do, you should also check whether that is being valued by the market. That is very important. Passion for the sake of passion will go nowhere. You should be able to tweak your passion and package your offering in a way where customers give value to it. That is very important. So in the revision, you should ensure that you connect passion with value given by the consumer, end consumer. It can be any employer who can employ you. It can be a end consumer who is willing to pay. Finally, that's important. They have to value you in the form of remuneration or in terms of certain recognition. You need to get it. Then that shift makes sense. Otherwise, you have to keep refining your revised value proposition in a manner where recognition happens. So this stage is very important.
Yes.
And once you get a leeway, for instance, when I talk about pivoting my career from an executive role to a mentoring role, business mentoring. So I found that there are people who want business mentoring role and they are willing to compensate for it. That's very important. Unless there is a compensation, there's no point in trying to reorient and say that I like to do it and I'm doing it. So once I found that there is a business mentoring role which is quite rewarding, then I did the shift. Likewise, it's very important for one to realize where the customers are willing to pay and accordingly modify it to suit the strength. And second and third stage are so critical. Once you get these two, reflection and revision, right, then it's very smooth. Then you can act. I mean, the icon which is there in the screen is a nice icon. It's a rocket. Before the button is pressed, you should have done it right. After the rocket takes off, you cannot change anything.
No, too late.
You have to do your stage 2 and stage 3 right. Once done, then the rocket really takes off and it will land in the place which you have targeted. And that will be a complete pivot from where you were to where you want to be. So once done, then you are well on your way and you can always keep refining. As I keep telling you, you should always keep asking 3 questions to yourself. Whether the new role is leveraging all my current capabilities. Should I expand further on this or I am able to use all my capabilities? Second, is there now a stage where I have to ask for certain upgradation of my role inside the company? Third, maybe I have grown enough in the organization and the organization has recognized me, but I see very good opportunities outside. Should I then leverage my skills, capabilities and seek opportunities outside? This question has to be asked in my mind every year. And for all you know, you may come to a conclusion that your current role, current leveraging is quite interesting and rewarding. Then you can stay put. But one should not fail to ask this question every year. It is good for the individual, it is good for the organization. Organizations want people who are hungry and contributing. They don't want to keep people and for the sake of loyalty and not leveraging the full capabilities. No company wants it. So it's important to have the balance. Once done, then again the cycle repeats. Then you leverage your strength and keep expanding your capability, help the organization or the startup realize the potential, and maybe in a 3-4 year time, in my generation it is 10 years where really industry changes. Here maybe in 3-4 years industry may change, then go back to reflection, redo your personal business model canvas, revise what you want to do, then act on it. So to
Yeah.
me, at least a 4-5 year time frame, this has to be repeated again and again and again.
Understood.
Yes. Now, if I just want to go a little deeper on this whole canvas so
Yeah.
that you will have an overview. Of course, to get full knowledge, you may have to go through their website and
Yes.
perhaps even enroll. There are online courses for this. Business
Yeah.
Model U, there's an online course in Coursera
Yeah.
and Udemy. You can go through it and understand yourself as well.
Yes.
You can also buy the book. To
Mm.
me, this is a very easy to read and easy to implement self-help book, and you will be able to understand it yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the next
Yes.
thing will be we are moving to um,
The business model canvas.
yes.
I had explained to you briefly on
Yeah.
those nine boxes.
These
These are
nine.
the nine boxes which make up the business model canvas. It starts from the value proposition and the customer. These are the first two ones. First, understand your target customer, and to connect with the target customer, get your value proposition right. This is for the business model canvas.
Mm.
And then you then look at channels with which you can reach. Then how do you engage the customers through the customer relationships? Then what is your revenue stream? Revenue stream typically in a business is the profits earned, the goodwill earned, the goodwill, profits, and the valuation. These are generally the revenues. Then there are key resources which are used by the company to deliver the goods, for which they have to do a consistently set of activities, and to get value proposition strengthened, they will go for external players. Some of you actually may be service providers for some organizations. You are all like partners for their business model. And through you, they are able to deliver the business model better. And through all these activities, you need costs to be incurred. And the last one is the cost. Cost meaning how much money the company is investing, what is the cost of people, time, everything comes under that. This concept of 9 building blocks of a business is straight away applied to the personal business model, which I will show you in the next slide.
Yeah. So right now I'm jumping to the personal business model right here.
Yes. Now, if you see the same 9 building blocks, if you can just focus on the right side, maybe you can expand the right side.
Expanding that. And
you can see that is neatly adapted as a personal business model, where the value proposition is articulated in a simple phrase saying, how do you help? In what manner you want to help? Okay. And the customer is to whom you are helping. How do you help and whom you are helping? This clarity you need. This is applicable when you are a company employee. This is also applicable when you are a self-employed professional. How do you help and whom you help? Now, once that is understood, then comes how do you reach the customer? For instance, the channel, you may do a face-to-face engagement, you can do an online engagement, you can go through website, multiple channels to reach the end consumer. And once you do it, it is not just reaching, you need to engage and increase the stickiness, and that comes through the relationships.
Yes.
You will have your own community. Like Glass is building a community, it is a version of customer relationship.
Yes.
So this is very important, because unless there is a communication, they won't know the customer feedback. Unless there is feedback, you cannot improve. So this is a cycle that has to be continuously done. And once done, it will reflect in the revenues, which is what at the bottom, right bottom.
Right.
What you get is the revenues. Now this is the front end of your business model. That is from you to the customer. But for that, you have to do very strong back end for you to stay current and make your proposition strong. That is where you have to have a set of key activities. It can be training, development, it can be upskilling, it will be collaboration with team members, all of it comes under that. And for key activities to be done well, you need to have resources, which means you should have certain certification to get your skill sets accredited, then you may have certain pedigree, you have certain background, you bring it to the table,
Yes.
so that what you do is seen in a different light.
Yeah.
You will have your own qualifications, and you will have certain skill sets acquired through competency building. All of it comes under resources, and typically you cannot do everything all alone. You need to
No.
collaborate, and that is the partners who are involved. For
Right.
instance, in my business mentoring, I also have coaching supervisors who are going to help me to know whether I am on the right path. Also, suppose certain business solutions are required. So I have a network of associates in technology, in say supply chain, or in digital marketing. So I will use their network to bring it to the business. And they will be they will be sharing their wisdom and services, so that the business becomes successful. Finally, the business or the person have to become successful, for which you as a value proposition custodian, you should ensure that the right things are done, and what is shown on the left are all the different elements which helps you to do the right things with impact.
Yeah.
And for all of it, there is cost, there's your personal time involved, there is certain sacrifice you do.
Yes.
And there are certain what you call trade-offs you do. All of it comes under cost.
Yeah.
So for all these trade-offs, you should get commensurate gain, which is on the right.
Yes.
So this is a very neat way of doing it, so that you imagine yourself as a entity who
Yeah.
provides services to the end consumer, and you can recraft it. And recrafting, as I told you, has those 5 stages. Initially, you have to reflect. Second thing is you have to revise your what you are offering,
Yeah.
and third is acting on what you are finally arrived at, and finally anything additional you need to do to keep yourself updated. These are the 5 stages, and that has to be repeated every season, every year, and every 3 years you have to revisit the model and see whether you want to stay current or you want to change.
Yep. Awesome.
The beauty of this model, it is applicable to any profession. For
Yeah.
instance, if you see the kind of professions which this model has been successfully done, you can be any of these. You are already in any of the profession, or you want to become any of this profession. This is very applicable. So you can see the gamut of professions which this personal business model can be applied. And it's very interesting to see that since the business model canvas is founded on basic principles, this is very highly adaptable. And there are professionals who have successfully pivoted their career into any of these careers.
This is amazing.
Yes. So it doesn't mean that you need to be a technical professional, or you need to be a teacher, or you need to be a consultant. It can be to anybody. Even there are sports professionals who have benefited out of it. There are entrepreneurs. This is also applicable even for students who are specializing in certain course in their undergraduation. But in the post graduation, they feel they want to change. They can use this canvas to see what made them successful as an undergraduate student, and if they want to pursue their post graduation, doctoral and all, should they pivot their career, pivot their educational profession or not. So this is even applicable to them. And it can also, and it need not be only for monetary benefit, it can be even for social benefit. Like it is also done by a green advocate.
Yes.
See, as I told you, the customer should value your services. It can be through remuneration or it can be through recognition. It doesn't matter. Anything which you value should what you be concerned.
Yep.
And this is a very good tool even for a green advocate, even for any social entrepreneurship. This can be done. Yeah, it can be done for even a medical profession like doctor. So it is, I can say, universal in terms of its application.
It's amazing.
And this is very easily accessible. Business model, as I told you, you can attend this course free in Udemy.
Yeah.
You can also buy this book online, Business Model U, and go through it. It is a self-help book. And there are counselors who can help. Business Model U practitioners are there. In fact, I also have got certified. I'm a certified practitioner of Business Model U for counseling. So, like me, there are many professionals. In your own country, you will have professionals who will help you to pivot your business. So you can seek their help also. If you go through the website, Business Model U website, it also categorizes practitioners by the country. You can go through that also. So that way, all opportunities are there available. All you need is to reflect and then realize that you will need to do the transition. Once you are realized, then there are multiple ways of successfully doing it.
This is ultimately amazing, a package of useful tools, and I think I cannot wait to try this on myself. I can see that you are a coach and you are guiding people currently in this area. Is there any specific target group that you want to help? And if somebody has to reach, how do they reach you?
I am one of the certified practitioner of Business Model U. I have got coached and certified by the author Tim Clark. I am using it for my business coaching and business mentoring, where apart from helping the business, I am helping the CEOs as well in positioning themselves for a successful realization of the business. So that is what I am doing. And having said that, I am open to helping any professional, any CXO or any senior leader who want to pivot their careers. They can reach out to me in my LinkedIn. And this I do it as a service, because my professional role is to transform businesses and help the CEOs succeed in their businesses. It's a business coaching I'm doing. I am not doing this as a profession separately. But having said that, I'm willing to help any CXOs who wish to reach out to me. I can sort of help them to frame their business model U canvas, after which they can take it further and then reboot their careers.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes.
Is there anything else that you would like to share with our audience before we take leave? If we have missed anything that you wanted to say, you can.
Now, overall, one thing I wish to say is, as a professional, either freelance or working for a company, you should always try to do things which you feel happy about on a daily basis. The moment you feel that the day is becoming a drudgery, it's a signal for you to quickly take stock of what you're doing. You should never assume that this is the only route. Today, the whole world is open. One can sit at home and give services to somebody across the globe thanks to online. So never feel restricted, never feel that the job need to be monotonous. The day you feel that it is getting into a drudgery or boring, time for you to shake yourself up, look outside, you will see opportunities. Opportunities are all around us. Just we have to open our eyes. That's the only thing which I wish to say. And each one of us are highly capable of delivering far more than what we are right now doing. There's no limit to our capabilities. And you should always be open to take that risk. One should be ready to take that calculated risk and go in a calibrated manner. It's not just like that, doing it in an ad hoc manner. In a calibrated manner, if the person goes, clearly he or she can see themselves in a much higher plane than what they are, because the world is full of opportunities.
Thanks a million for a wonderful show. and so much of input. I'm so happy to have had this conversation, and I'm sure our viewers have learned a lot from this. Thanks again. Have a beautiful day.
Thank you, Komati, and thanks to all the people who are patronizing this class. I'm sure this session will be of some use as you go ahead in your career, continuing your career or transforming your career. Wishing all of you all the very best. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. That was a master blaster. I truly enjoyed working with Vasanth Kumar, trying to understand the business model you canvas. Truly excited to try this out for myself, and I'm sure you also would have found this very useful. Please do let us know if you have any other questions that could be answered through this channel. We are here to help you out. And also, remember, if you are trying this business model you by yourself for your own self, do follow the guidelines that was provided by Vasanth Kumar during the video, and it's also available in the description box in this YouTube channel. Thank you so much for watching this episode. Have a nice, beautiful day. Bye bye.